How's it going, everyone? Nerd Person Shooter here. Before I start this video, I just want to let you guys know that I kind of have a cold right now. I'm still recovering from it. I've had it for about a week and a half. Hopefully it goes away really soon, because I'm getting sick of it, physically and mentally. So forgive me if my voice is a little low or quieter than usual. I'll try to leave out all my sniffles and coughs and burps or whatever else comes out of my mouth that isn't a word. Anyway, the Game Awards premiered Thursday night. I was able to watch it in its entirety, and it didn't really feel like a celebration of gaming. It felt more like a celebration of one game. We all know what game that is, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, this is a game that almost everyone knew was going to win Game of the Year, even if you weren't a fan of JRPGs or if you weren't even a fan of the game. It was a shoo-in, basically, for Game of the Year. Whether we agree or not, we all pretty much expected it. It received the most nominations in the history of the Game Awards. I believe it got 12 nominations. Or was it 12 or 13? Maybe it was 13, including the Player's Choice nomination. And it went home with 9 awards, including Game of the Year, but 9 awards, the most that any game has ever won in the Game Awards. This was something that I was afraid would happen. I was hoping that it wouldn't win almost everything that it is nominated for, and it did. And look, it's a great game. Don't get me wrong. I loved it when I first played it. I gave it a 10 out of 10 when I first played that shit. But I went back to it a few months later and, tried doing some extra stuff, and I just wasn't enjoying it as much because of the fact that there's no mini-map marker, or, there's no mini-map, there's no quest markers. I hate the gestural island minigames. I can't fucking beat a one of them. And I also hate how hard a lot of the Act 3 world bosses are. I mean, it just felt kind of, I don't know, frustrating going back to it. I also wasn't a big fan of, like, the way the story turned out, across, like, Act 2 and stuff. But that's a personal preference, I can kind of forgive the story moments, but I can't really forgive, like, the really bad navigation and the kind of poor exploration of an open world RPG like that, especially when we've had, games in the past 20 years where quest markers and maps were kind of like the norm, you know. Maybe, I mean, they did this intentionally because you're on an exploration in an uncharted land, but I feel like that would be all the more of a reason to make maps. Like, why is my team not, like, charting the world, you know what I mean? Anyway, enough about my rant on Expedition 33. I loved it. It was my game of the year for a while until I played a couple other games that I ended up enjoying more as, on the whole. But, I'm not really mad at one game of the year. I expected it to, but I'm really bummed that it kind of took away a lot of the other games and what they could have won. You know what I mean? This was a really stacked year for games. It was such an impressive year. So many awesome games came out this year that it shouldn't have been a sweep. If anything, it should have been a close call between, 2 games or maybe even 3 games. Instead, they just gave it all to Expedition 33, and I don't really get why. I'm not saying it didn't deserve most of its wins. I'm just saying it's kind of odd for a year this stacked to have almost every single award go to Expedition 33. My personal favorite game of this year is probably Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know I said in my Hades 2 review that Hades 2 is my new game of the year, and it might still be. I haven't really decided what my favorite game of the year is. It's one of those 2 games. I might even just say fuck it and tie them for my game of the year. But Hades 2 did win Best Action Game at least. Hollow Knight Silksong won Best Action Adventure Game at least. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 got 3 nominations and didn't win any of them. It should have won Best RPG. If we played both these games, I feel like almost all of us can agree that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was the deeper RPG in terms of mechanics and just the world and your choices. As Henry, you can do whatever the hell you want. You could be a serial killer and just fucking murder everyone. You could change, the outcome of the story in so many different ways. And, in Expedition 33, you don't really have that freedom. You really don't. The storytelling in that game is completely linear up until the end, where you only have two choices. There's two different endings in that game. But, aside from that, I feel like as an RPG, Expedition 33 was very surface level. It had a great turn-based combat system, and it had some customizable choices for the characters and stuff, like the way they look, and their stats you can change and stuff, and that's cool. But I feel like as an RPG, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was way deeper and just honestly way more immersive too, in my opinion. It's actually the most immersive, the most detailed open world game I've ever played, right next to Red Dead Redemption 2. So I feel like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, if not Game of the Year, and if not Best Narrative, it should have at least won Best RPG. And that went to Expedition 33. Best Performance they gave to Jennifer Anglis for voicing Mael, which is completely understandable. But I personally wanted it to go to Troy Baker for Indiana Jones. I feel like his Indy was just like absolutely uncanny. It was like so identical to Harrison Ford's voice that it was like kind of like disturbing how he sounded like exactly like Harrison Ford. So, I'm not trying to take that away from Jennifer Anglis. She's an amazing actress. She played what was her name in Baldur's Gate 3? Shadow. Shit, tip of my tongue. But she voiced is it Shadowheart? I think her name was Shadowheart. Jennifer Anglis voiced Shadowheart, did a great job in there. She also voiced one of the characters in Elden Ring. And it's funny, all three of these games that she voiced in ended up winning Game of the Year. So hats off to her. But still, Troy Baker has yet to win a game award for best performance, and that guy's an iconic voice actor. I mean, he provided the voice of Joel from the Last of Us games. He did Booker DeWitt from BioShock Infinite. There's so many others too. I mean, like Sam Drake from Uncharted 4, and he has yet to win. And I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking this is more of like a body of work type thing. But even without that considered, I still feel like he deserved best performance just for voicing Indiana Jones in such like an identical one by one comparison. Like it was incredible to me. Like he won my personal best performer of the year last year. The Game Awards do something a little bit different. And this is something I've always hated about the Game Awards, is that they don't wait until the end of the year to nominate these games. So what they do is they nominate games that had come out last December. Even though they're last year's games, they still get nominated for this year's games. Like, it makes no sense to me. I think it's stupid. I think they should wait until like January to do the Game Awards, but that's just me, whatever. So, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 unfortunately didn't win anything. Death Stranding 2 unfortunately didn't win anything because Claire Obscure was in the way. And it breaks my heart because I saw the reaction of the guy who was sitting behind Hideo Kojima. I think was it Woodkid? It was one of the musicians who provided a lot of the music in Death Stranding 2, and he was nominated. And I don't think he was really bummed when he lost Best Music to Lorien Testard for Expedition 33. I'm pretty sure everyone else expected that. I mean, everyone agrees that game deserved Best Music. But what broke my heart really was when the game of the year was announced. You saw, Kojima's, face cam, right? And behind him, Kojima seemed okay about losing Game of the Year and losing Best Game. He seemed fine with it. He was like, he clapped and he congratulated Sandfall. But sitting behind him was the musician, and his facial expression, it broke my heart. He was like, when he realized that the game that he helped make didn't win a single award, it got like 7 nominations, didn't win a single one. He was just like he looked like he was ready to like tear up, and I just felt so fucking bad, you know. I'm not saying that Death Stranding 2 necessarily deserved to win anything. I mean, it was a great game. I played it. I loved it. I thought it was way better than the first Death Stranding. I probably would have given it like best sound design maybe. But then again, Battlefield 6 was there, so kind of hard to argue with that win. But and it just comes around to me that like I feel like all of these great games should have been awarded at least one award. I understand a jury votes, and, oftentimes, even when a part of the jury thinks like the way I do about like awarding everyone with at least one thing, that doesn't always turn out the case when all votes are counted. But I try to put myself in their shoes, into these developers who worked just as hard as the people who ended up winning everything for one game, only to come out empty-handed and be like, yeah, we got to go back to work. We got to, we got to go back to our home country and, do whatever it is we're planning to do beforehand and move on with our lives. But I can imagine the disappointment that, the developers at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and, Kojima's team must feel about going home empty-handed. You know, it must suck, This is why I hate sweeps. I don't feel like, no, like, even games that are like some of the greatest games ever, they shouldn't sweep. I don't know, man. Maybe that's just the empathy, DEI, liberal side of me being like, everyone should have a trophy, even if they don't deserve it. But that's just me. I'm a very empathetic person. I want all these developers who succeeded making great games feel like they're heard, feel like they are acknowledged as, among the best. And when a game sweeps and takes all of it away from everyone else, it just kind of feels one-sided and, almost like favoritism. I felt the same way when Last of Us 2 took home Game of the Year, and it took home like 6 other awards or something ridiculous. And I did not like that game. Unlike Expedition 33, I did not like Last of Us 2 at all. And I was upset that beat Hades. I really believe that Hades 1 deserved Game of the Year in 2020. But oh well, the Game Awards loved The Last of Us 2, which, by the way, they really fucked up their adaptation category. They gave Best Adaptation to The Last of Us Season 2, but they completely left out Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which pretty much everyone agrees is the best video game adaptation of this year. And it wasn't even nominated. Like, what the hell? What else? What about the categories? Oh, Best Indie Game. Clay Obscure shouldn't have been on it. I'm sorry. I know it's technically an indie game. It costs like, I think it was like a $9 million budget, which isn't really that small, considering a lot of the other independent games that came out this year cost a lot less than $9 million and was created with a much smaller team. Like Team Cherry is only 4 people. 4 people made Hollow Knight Silksong, that massive really immersive Metroidvania game, really challenging, really rewarding, and I feel like Silksong deserved Best Indie Game more than Claire Obscure. I really do. Hades 2 as well. Now, Best Debut Game, Claire Obscure won that, and I understand that, but the thing I hate about that category is that it makes it sound like only indie games are eligible, because Best Debut Indie Game. So, like, let's say if you're a new big studio that's backed by a big publisher, and you create a new game, your first game with a big publisher, does that mean your game isn't eligible for that award? They should erase the indie from that category and just make it best debut game. Because I do believe that Expedition 33 was the best debut game from a new developer, even more than Blueprints, which I loved. So I can understand that win for Expedition 33, but I don't really think it deserved to win Best Indie Game. I don't even think it should have been nominated for Best Indie Game. There were so many other amazing indie games this year that didn't get nominated for anything. There were so many other games that could have taken Expedition 33 spot and should have, like Ninja Gaiden Ragebound or Sword of the Sea. Holy shit, did Sword of the Sea even get nominated for anything? Best art direction, best music, like what, like like from the creators of Journey, and like the art direction was just as amazing in Sword of the Sea. Like that didn't get nominated for best art direction. Holy fucking shit! Dispatch hardly got nominated for anything. That was only nominated for best debut game. It wasn't nominated for best narrative. It wasn't nominated for best performance. Aaron Paul. It was completely shafted. It was only nominated for one award, and that was, oh no, I'm sorry, two nominations. It got nominated for the player's voice, which, by the way, that's another thing that I need to talk about. The player's voice. Half the time, this just goes to a stupid mobile game. Like, and there was a mobile game that came out like 2 years ago. Wuthering Waves, or maybe it was last year. Wuthering Waves won Best Player's Choice. Like, come on, like people really chose that over Expedition 33, Dispatch, and Hollow Knight Silksong? Are you fucking kidding me? And Genshin Impact was in there too. Like, what the fuck? Why are we allowing mobile games that are years old as the player's choice game of the year? It makes no fucking sense to me. Don't make these games eligible. They didn't come out this year. They came out last year or the year before or fucking 5 years ago. I don't know. God damn. Like, really? Player's voice into a mobile game? Come on. Like, are these bots? Are we being trolled by a bunch of bot votes? I don't know. I don't get it. Whether you're proud that E33 swept or not, I'm just gonna say it. They fucked up on a lot of categories, okay, this year. I best adaptation, no Sonic 3, oh my god. So yeah, I think that's the bulk of what I wanted to talk about with the award side of the Game Awards. Expedition 33 isn't my personal game of the year. It's either Hades 2 or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But I congratulate the Sandfall team. I do. I do think they deserved some of the awards that won, but I wish they had enough sweet. I wish one award went to Death Stranding 2. I wish Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 nabbed Best RPG. Like I said, Hades 2 at least won Best Action Game. That's nice. Silksong won Best Adventure Game. That's great. That's well deserved as well. Donkey Kong Bonanza won Best Family Game, which is a category I'm not sure why that exists. Like, they have categories for Best Family Game and Best, games for impact or whatever, but they don't have a category for Best Puzzle Game or, Best Platformer or something. Like, Best Puzzle Game, that would have been a win for Blueprints. Like Blueprints is fucking awesome, man. So that's one of my favorite indie games of the year. Blueprints. That got nominated for indie and debut, but it would have won best puzzle game if they had a puzzle category. You know what I mean? So that would have been cool, but that's not there. At least Doom the Dark Ages won best innovation and accessibility. That's cool. That got nominated for best action game, but Hades 2 deserved that. But yeah, that's not my personal favorite innovation and accessibility, though. My personal favorite accessibility from what I've played wasn't even nominated in that category. Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4. In Ninja Gaiden 4, you can play the game one-handed. I'm not joking. Look it up. Like for people who have one hand or whatever, like whether you lost it in a war or you had surgery and needed it removed or from a serious injury or you were born with a birth defect and you only have one hand, you could play Ninja Gaiden 4 in a series that is notoriously difficult. That is insane. Ninja Gaiden 4 deserved best accessibility and it wasn't even nominated. But at least it was nominated for best action game. But it's like if you acknowledge Ninja Gaiden 4, you didn't ignore it or whatever. You know, why did this innovation did you miss it? Did you not look in the options? I don't what? You know, like they nominated like Assassin's Creed Shadows and stuff and South of Midnight, but they didn't nominate Ninja Gaiden 4 for accessibility. Whatever. Anyway, enough about the Game Awards award side because let's be real here, that's not actually what most people watch the Game Awards for. Most people actually watch it, they tune in for the game reveals that happen in between the awards. I don't know about you guys, but I was very disappointed this year. There were very few games announced that really caught my attention. Actually, I think there were only two. There was Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. Casey Hudson is back. Remember Casey Hudson from Mass Effect? He's back. I'm like, holy shit, I haven't thought of that guy in ages. But yeah, he's back to working on Star Wars games, and that's fucking awesome. You know, Knights of the Old Republic, one of the best games of all time. So, you know, hopefully Fate of the Old Republic is at least good. I'm not expecting it to be as good as Knights, but hopefully it's at least great. You know, hopefully Casey Hudson delivers on that. There was also another game that was announced that I thought looked really cool, kind of like a Hong Kong action type game, kind of like John Woo's Stranglehold or Sleeping Dogs. I think it's called Gang of Dragon or Gangs of Dragon. It looks really cool. You play as a guy who at first doesn't look like he can fight. Like he's kind of like older and a little bit like overweight, but when he starts fighting, it's like incredible. and that really caught my eye. I'm looking forward to Gang of Dragon or whatever it's called. Something of Dragon. I thought it was Gang of Dragon, but I could be mistaken. And that's about it. That's literally off the top of my head, those are the only two game reveals. I think there were a couple like release dates for games that we've already know about. They did confirm that Leon Kennedy is going to be in Resident Evil 9. That's cool. He's gonna have a chainsaw. He's like a playable character. He's like the second playable character. Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't turn out like RE6. Holy shit, man. Where they each have their own campaign and both campaigns kind of suck. Hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully it's a little bit more like Resident Evil 0, where they kind of like take turns between characters. But yeah, what concerns me is he supposedly has a chainsaw as a weapon. Like Leon Kennedy running around with a chainsaw. I don't know if I like that. I mean that sounds kind of silly, don't you think? For a 50-year-old man. I suppose it's more believable than a 50-year-old man doing backflips over lasers and jumping out of three-story windows and landing perfectly on his ass without hurting himself. Um, but you know, I'm still not really quite interested in that game. I don't know. It's just I'm sure it's gonna be good, but I don't know. We'll see. So the final reveal, you know how Jeff Keighley, he likes saving the best thing for last. Oh yeah, he really does. I mean, it's just like, before the game of the year, he announces this big game that's gonna change the game industry. It really is. That game this year, I forgot what it was called. It is a multiplayer hero shooter. Yeah, yet another multiplayer hero shooter that looks no different from all the hundreds of other hero shooters out today. This was the best thing he thought was coming out, apparently. Like, it would have been way better to have Fate of the Old Republic be the last game. Like, that would have been awesome. Like, a new Star Wars game by industry legend Casey Hudson. Like, that would have been a lot better than whatever the fuck this multiplayer hero shooter. Like, what? What? This got almost no applause. You know how you can hear the audience in the background? When I watched it, man, I didn't hear a loud cheer. I did not. I mean, maybe there were some claps, but yeah, disappointing. This whole award show to me was really disappointing. I found the awards given out to be very predictable. I was afraid, yet kind of expected E33 to sweep. It did. And the games announced, for the most part, I don't care for. So it was kind of a 3.5 hour waste of my time. So, yeah. I feel like I'm missing something, man. I should just keep this video going, keep this video rolling, and then when I feel like I can say something else, I'll cut to that part and say something else. The game reveal sucked. I might never watch the Game Awards again. Like, I already know what's gonna win next year. GTA 6. That's gonna win Game of the Year. That's gonna win Best Game Direction. The main character female is probably gonna win Best Performance. The game's probably gonna win Best Narrative. It's probably gonna win Best Multiplayer, even though the multiplayer in GTA is the most toxic thing ever created in the existence of mankind. The multiplayer in GTA is my least favorite thing in existence. And that's going to win Best Multiplayer. I know it. Probably going to win Best Music, too, even though it should probably go to like 007 or whatever. Yeah, that's going to be a sweep as well. I predict that GTA 6 is going to sweep, and I'm not going to fucking bother with it. I'm not going to bother watching it. Okay, unless, of course, it gets delayed again into 2027. And then it will also win Best Anticipated Game in 2026. It won Best Anticipated Game this year, and it won Best Anticipated Game last year. See, that's the thing about GTA 6. Every year it doesn't come out, it's still going to win something. Best Anticipated Game. Yeah. Hoo boy. Oh man. I think award shows are fucking shit. And to show off my amount of passion, I am going to make my own Game Awards episode video. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to mock the fuck out of the Game Awards. I have some really funny ideas, and I'm going to do it. So, yeah, stay tuned for that video, guys. The first annual Nerd Person Shooter Awards. Oh man, it's gonna be glorious. I'm gonna make another Game Pass review episode video. I know I said I wouldn't when I made my rant about the price increase, but I found a way that I was able to get a month without paying $30. So I'll talk to you guys about that in the next video. Hopefully I'll have a Christmas video, but I can't really promise it. But we'll see. I'll try. Anyway, guys, yeah, leave a comment down below if you have any opinions about the Game Awards. Am I full of shit? Am I too sick to be thinking clearly? because I have brain fog right now, from my cold. Maybe Expedition 33 deserved to sweep. It's the best game ever made. It's not the best game ever made. I think it has problems. And I think we should discuss it more often and stop being fanboys, okay? And start looking at things more critically, more unbiased, and more fairly. So, these are the discussions we need to have, people, whether you want it or not. You can love your game all you want, but hell, fucking Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, that shit has problems. Like the fucking dice games, that shit's fucking bullshit. you know, I'm not afraid. Like my favorite game of all time is BioShock, and that game had problems, like the fucking Vita chambers and how it basically enabled you to like brute force through the game without like a challenge. And the last boss was stupid, but still my favorite game of all time for many other reasons. So, I mean, if E33 is your favorite game ever, that's fine, but you should be allowed to let people have their criticisms of your favorite games. So, yeah. Thank you so much for this long rant, guys. I had no idea this video would last more than half an hour. But I guess I just had a lot to say about the Game Awards this year. So yeah, thank you for watching. And the Game of the Year goes to Clear Up Scare Expedition 33!